Very good evening, one and all. I'm very excited. We are starting with the webinar, and the title is so exciting. This is e-commerce fueling the demand for international business leaders. So we have a very strong panelist, stalwarts from the industry, and we have a lot of participants joining us. We at UPES are pioneers in distance learning, online education. We are NAC A accredited institution, and distance learning courses, we are offering certain very niche, very specialized courses like in power management, international business, oil and gas. These are industry aligned courses, and we are offering these courses online with a blend of education technology at its pioneer. So I welcome you all for this webinar. We are going to talk about e-commerce, the latest trends, and we are going to connect with somebody all the way from US. So I'm going to introduce all the stalwarts and the panelists. But before than that, I will just talk about CCE. CCE is Center for Continuing Education, wherein we are offering these distance learning courses. Myself, Dr. Ruchi Mehrotra Joshi, I'm Associate Professor, course coordinator for MBA International Business. I'll be taking ahead. I'll be moderating the session. You're free to ask your questions in the chat box. We'll take up the questions at the end. And I would like to introduce the stalwart, Dr. Professor Roy, Hironmoy Roy. He is actually one of the veterans, I would say, in UPES. Sir is specialized in economics and international business, and sir has been actually a coordinator for the international business programs in last many years here at UPES. Sir has been also winning a lot of awards. He's a researcher, he's an avid researcher, I would say, and sir has been contributing to various academic and corporate platforms for the trainings and knowledge dissemination purposes. Sir is also editor for very reputed Scopus and ABDC journals, and sir has won many accolades for himself and the university. Welcome, Professor Roy. We're happy to have you.
Thank you, Ruchi. Thank
you. We also have Chirag. Chirag is a UPES alumni. He is has done MBA in international business from UPES, but he has a decade plus of experience in education technology. That is the best part. We all can actually get a lot of insights. After doing his BTech, he went ahead and did international business. And like any student would cherish to have work experience at a place which is international. Actually, Chirag is going to talk about his experience there back in US. He's connecting us from Texas. Welcome, Chirag.
Hi, Ruchi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So today we are going to have a discussion on e-commerce, how it has been helpful in developing the international business leaders, making them learn how these particular skill sets are required when you go global. What are the business strategies which are required when companies intend to go global? So as Professor Roy is already specialized in globalization and international business, we are going to take his particular views on these interesting topics. And I will also take ahead Chirag's viewpoint on this similar area, because he has been specializing in digital, big data, artificial intelligence, and this is actually the need of our. So we're going to have a blend of an intellectual capital, Professor Roy, and young. In fact, he is actually guiding a lot of companies. Chirag is presently guiding a lot of companies presently only for big data, artificial intelligence, and digitalization, including e-commerce. So he's actually an advisor to a few of the companies. They're back in US. So I take this ahead. I take this opportunity to initiate this webinar, and I would like to invite Professor Roy by asking that, sir, how do you think that business strategies, they actually change when a particular company actually goes international? When companies, they cross the borders, how they actually have this transition of changing their business strategies. So, Professor Roy, sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, Ruchi. Thank you. You have asked a very, fundamental questions of why companies are going global and what are the strategic shift or changes when they are going global. And these questions are generic to most of the companies which are operating on the global platform. So there are actually two motivations, mainly proactive motivations and reactive motivations. Talk about strategy. These are mostly, proactive motivations. They themselves think that they should now explore global market because domestic market being saturated or being exploited to the extent, and now it is not possible to expand in the domestic market. So they feel to go abroad and the international market. So there are certain proactive motivations. The first thing is profit. Companies are looking after new markets because they are looking for higher profits now. So profit advantage is one of the strongest, strategy, I would say, to go global. Products, there must be unique products. Every country, every nation, or every customers in different localities, different regions are looking for certain unique features. So the companies which are actually providing such unique features, can go global. For example, iPhone, Apple. There are many examples. I would say how Honda has expanded globally, by looking at different customer segments. And nowadays, especially post-pandemic, we are seeing that huge strategic shift towards technological advantages. Means companies are now exploiting the technology resources as a very strong strategy to leverage upon and to reach to the global customers. So we have seen there is a huge shift. Economics of scale, that is a all-time important strategy for any global company. So global companies are giant, they are big in size, and they play on scale, and hence economics of scale is there because average cost of the production must be very less, because without economies of scale, a company cannot operate in a global platform. So this is a must for international business front. Then exclusive information, how I can actually operate in the international market. If I have certain exclusive information about resources, information about customers' choices and preferences, information about cultural inclination towards certain things, and these are very exclusive information, and these can be actually encased upon by the companies to leverage to have a market share abroad. And essentially tax benefit. India is a high tax destination, so Indian MNCs, when they can expand globally, there are several low tax destinations where huge amount of revenue can be earned and huge amount of expenditure by way of saving the taxes. These can be utilized. So these are some of the very important motivations for a company, or you can say even an Indian MNC, to go global. We have seen, there are several companies in the global platform which are operating. Apart from this, I would also touch upon cross-cultural understanding, because in international business, there are many factors which are important, but the foremost and most important is the cross-cultural understanding and cross-cultural knowledge of the managers as well as the companies. This is a skill, and it is a soft skill. And this soft skill, if the companies and the managers are not understanding well, they cannot actually be successful in the international market, because they need to understand the differences among the nations, among the customers. So most of the successful companies on the international platform, are actually very sensitive towards the cultural differences, and how to bridge these differences is encash and leverage on the similarities and get rid of the dissimilarities. This is how actually we can think of. So these are all generic, all general propositions for any company going global, and without this it is next to impossible to survive and thrive in the global market. So this is what is my perspective towards going global, even for an Indian MNC, in the global market. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this intellectual thought. Thank you so much. I also have a very interesting thought on this, that good business leaders, they actually create vision. They articulate the vision. They passionately own the vision. And even relentlessly, they drive to it towards completion. This is actually a quote by the CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, wherein he reiterates that good business leaders will actually be driving those particular multinational corporations. So my question to Chirag, before I go to Chirag, I would always ask this question, that a company like MakeMyTrip or Flipkart, when they go international, what particular expertise are they looking at in their international business managers? Because there is a lot of immigration which takes place. There are a lot of staff members which travel onshore offsite. And I think, Mr. Chirag, you would be the right person, because you have actually transitioned from India and you have gone there and you're settled there. And you are actually the right person to, in fact, answer this. So what particular skills are these companies like, especially like Flipkart and MakeMyTrip? I remember there was this acquisition in 2018 for Flipkart happening by Walmart, wherein this entire acquisition, because Flipkart being a typical Indian e-commerce enterprise, which was promoted in 2007 by the Bansal brothers. And then after just a decade, they were able to sell the stake at a very huge amount. This was $16 billion in 2018. So at that particular valuation, when a business is being sold out by an Indian company to an international MNC like Walmart, so what are the expectations for those Indian managers to be transformed into international business managers? And what skill set are they actually looking at? So, Mr. Chirag, over to you.
Great question, Ruchi. Thanks for asking this. Yes, as we all know, the digital economy is revolutionizing the world of work, I will say. And to stay relevant, we all know that individuals across the industry, across the world, need to be open to continuous learning first and developing talent. And it's a responsibility, I think, for as an individual and the organization itself, because through organizational learning, you can start developing employees by ensuring they are learning those necessary skills required for international expansion. So here are some of the skills, maybe categorization of skills I can mention that are worth developing or expanding in today's era, when you are expanding your businesses, seeking to cross borders. Any role or function, I will start, in international business means working in a diverse workplace with people from different countries or backgrounds to yours, whether they are your colleague or a client or a customer. And understanding how to communicate across culture is an absolutely indispensable skill. Means you must have that skill, how to communicate with diverse people from diverse backgrounds and cultures. Moreover, if you want to work in an international environment, developing a strong network of connections outside of your home country is very, very essential, because successful networking can open the door to unexpected business opportunities overseas, as well as for your local needs as well. And moreover, in an international business environment, collaborating with team members from other culture is especially beneficial. First, it's an opportunity to use and develop your cross-cultural sort of communication. Secondly, it will also expose you to new perspective and the ways of addressing different business problems. The most inspiring and successful business leaders, I must say, are often the best collaborators, knowing that collective brain power can accelerate companies' success many folds, more what we can imagine. And to succeed in that, international business unequivocally demands mental toughness and resilience. On a practical level, working across time zones and cultures, involves long hours, failures, setbacks are also, some facts which we should not ignore in the business world. But defeat isn't it. This is where resilience comes in. And thanks to COVID, who teaches us, what business really resilience is and how to bounce back in challenging times. So some of the hard skills, if I may mention here, are international financial management is very crucial and very helpful when you are taking your food to international market. Mergers and acquisitions, you should have a great and a diverse knowledge of foreign trade policies, how they are emulating, how they are evolving a lot. Supply chain management, marketing management from an international perspective. So those are some of the hard and soft skills and some must have skills which a person should acquire when he is moving towards international business, job prospects, or starting a company at an international level. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chirag, for this insight. What's coming to me is, yes, cross-cultural issues. Even Professor Roy sir also talked about the same, and you're also talking about, because cross-cultural issues and the way the culture in which we are growing up, and then we actually transform our particular locations. So that entire geopolitics change which is happening, probably it is really very impactful, and how people actually are able to adapt to it. So the agility and like resilience, probably that's going to be a very unique feature. And obviously technically we need to be learned enough, so we need to acquire those kinds of skill sets, and we need to have those kinds of learnings, especially for international business leaders. What I understand is international trade laws, international business strategies, they also count in a very big particular role. And I think if people are very well equipped, they are skilled in that particular technical expertise in terms of the knowledge of these international trade laws and this international trade expert, probably this is going to even help. So I actually have a very beautiful thought on this when we talk about thinking global but then acting local. So the local responsiveness is also very crucial in this. So in local responsiveness, in fact, how companies, they actually serve their specific market needs, and also in that they are trying to globally integrate, standardize their procedures, and probably bring in certain particular levels of performances, wherein, let's say we talk about Hindustan Unilever is also one kind of a company, but there are a lot of particular collaborations, mergers and acquisitions which are also taking place in this arena. So I would request Dr. Roy, if you can just give certain insights on this global integration and certain standardization and local responsiveness which companies are actually getting into, so that we all can get an insight of the adaptability on this particular part.
Yeah, so thank you, Ruchi. Again, so far as global strategy is concerned, the companies which are going global, initially it is a rule of thumb that when a company goes global, risk is very high, profit is very low, and that risk one has to bear for quite some time. And if you have that kind of patience and resilience, then only you will be very successful. So it is a long-term game or mid-term game. It is not a short-term, first of all. So it is first high risk, low profit, and virtually it will be high profit, low risk. And the success mantra are efficiency, effectiveness, and competitive strength. Now, I very briefly highlight on what is competitive strength, efficiency, and effectiveness. For the business, international business company and international business managers has to be very, very effective. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to sustain and grow. And effectiveness means whatever you are, making decisions or whatever business functions you are handling, this has to be very high level decision, very best and optimal decision making, keeping an eye on the competitors. This is what is the effectiveness and efficiency means. You must be efficient in all your functions. So managerial functions, competitive strength. These are very, very important point, competitive strength, because whole international business and international trade rest on competitive strength. Because what are the features of competition? A product is produced, and while producing this product, there are cost side. So how we optimize cost? If we take Indian case, Indian companies are not being able to compete so much. Reason being, we are very weak in this front of competitive strength. Our cost is very high. And this is partly due to our government policies. Government has not yet supported us in terms of, lower labor cost, lower electricity prices, lower input cost, lower transportation cost. Our logistics is very, relatively weaker compared to global logistics and transportation costs. So all these costs are very high. How you can reduce your cost? So if you cannot reduce your cost, you cannot compete evidently. So connecting this point to Ruchi's question that, if we collaborate, so this question comes joint ventures and collaborations and mergers and acquisition. But I'm specifically talking about now joint ventures. I would start from an Indian perspective. The most successful joint venture is, Maruti Suzuki. It is now in the world and global platform, but started in India, and you see how it has leveraged on. It is one of the dominant players in the road. Then Tata Jaguar case, Jaguar has come in the Chennai and built a factory because local resources are harnessed at a very low cost. So these are the some kind of collaboration that has happened, and in this collaboration again, very importantly, cultural collaboration also has to happen along with the business collaboration, because this cultural assimilation, if it is not happening, I'm giving you the failure story. Toyota versus Nissan competition. So Nissan earlier was one of the rising company, but what happened due to their vertical approach in their leadership, vertical culture, there are huge kind of decision making from the top to the bottom. So this culture actually was not very conducive to the growth of the company. And what happened? This was encouraged by the Toyota. They are a horizontal organization where decision making by the team players, or it is a decentralized decision making. Now you see Toyota has advanced compared to Nissan, leveraging on these weaknesses, cultural weaknesses. I would give another example of Lenovo. Lenovo, and Hong Kong or Chinese-based company. Initially, they falter when they went to US. They tried to, impose the Chinese culture. But gradually they understood that they are actually doing the wrong things. And then some of their Chinese managers were sent to US to sit there, to work there and learn the culture of the US and then globalize. So these are some of the important points, Ruchi, that I would like to, highlight on both as a strategy as well as when venturing with other entities from other nations. And most of the successful companies from US, Japan, and Europe, these are actually examples. And there are certain challenges, there are certain strategy as well as challenges. So I am just highlighting on the challenges so that we understand for an Indian MNC what are the challenges, and we need to focus on those challenges. As I said, government is not supporting because third generation economic reforms in India has not happened in real sense. So our cost and etc. those are actually very high. We are still now awaiting for the third generation economic reform to bring down all this. Second, transportation cost, I said, very high. And logistics, we are nowhere in global platform. Our logistics is very, because if your logistics cost come down, you will be beating the competitor. Innovation and invention. Innovation and invention is also a key to the international business, because where you are competing and beating is your innovation. Resource crunch. We are not a capital intensive, we are a level intensive country. So we are having dearth of capital. So we need FDI. We're getting FDI, good amount of FDI, but we need more FDI. So we need resource. Local languages and local culture that I have already discussed. And then technology, marketing, and manufacturing. We have to innovate a lot in the marketing infrastructure. Our distribution channel is weaker compared to the global distribution channels. Then technology, online platforms, e-commerce. No one will talk a lot about e-commerce. E-commerce is the technology of the day, and several analytics-based solutions and platforms we are actually leveraging for this international, and manufacturing innovation has to be. So these are some of the important things in the strategy front, and so when we go for a collaboration, we should see that our counterpart should have these expertise which we can leverage, and if we have low cost resources like labor or raw materials, we can give to other side, and that's the happy marriage between these two MNCs can happen from two different hemispheres. Yes, Ruchi, you can go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the thought. In this thought, because this e-commerce thing which you've just brought in, actually, I was just remembering when I quoted the example of Flipkart, even MakeMyTrip also actually, when it started, probably the idea was just connecting the international particular destinations like US, and that was actually the prime idea. But then the way e-commerce, especially in the arena of travel and tourism and hotel booking, then IRCTC, every particular facility is available. This is like traveling component added on to e-commerce. This was a very beautiful thought, and MakeMyTrip as a particular case study that actually becomes a very, very remarkable case study. Like I remember studying during, because almost even 2 decades back, when I as a student was studying about this, MakeMyTrip was one particular place wherein one-stop destination when it came to e-commerce relating to only tourism was actually brought in. But the idea is that any particular e-commerce company, when we are looking at, there are certain other particular challenges also when it comes to e-commerce, because in terms of globalization, we are also referring to something which is highly digitalized. There is a lot of risk which is pertaining to the online transactions. So in this particular process, there are a lot of particular challenges also which are coming up. But then for a company like MakeMyTrip or Flipkart, how they have been able to reach out to various destinations. Like I even remember the example of Jack Ma when he was talking about, and we have been talking about a lot of AliExpress transactions being happening with China. And we actually, whenever we trade with China, we actually do not trade in our own currencies also. So that's an area which also we need to look at. When we trade with China, we are buying any particular product. We're not even buying in INR, which is international rupee, or we're not even buying in yuan or renminbi. We use US dollar as a particular communicating currency between the two countries. So any buying and selling happening between India and China, even through, let's say, AliExpress, Alibaba Express, which is again a very different aspect to look at it, because the currency regime is also, we are asking for a vehicle currency, that is US dollar. So that's also another way. So Chirag, I would like to ask this question to you. So how Flipkart, MakeMyTrip, or let's say AliExpress and these other particular e-commerce companies, how are they looking at this expansion which is happening globally? And what is your thought on this?
Interestingly, it's one of my favorite subject to understand the case studies when it comes to comparative companies. And well, if I look back in 2018, what you have mentioned has been a milestone year for e-commerce space in India. When Flipkart Walmart merger dominating headlines, and that have been evolved and propelled by this COVID-19 hit. And we also believe that in 2022 will be as eventful with newer models emerging, because Flipkart and those mergers are doing a lot of work in that space. Like they are making themselves as as a customer obsessed. They are taking feedback from their clients. They are understanding their shifts, how it is changing from product variants level, prices level. I think what's exciting today is the benchmark of e-commerce basic that have been set significantly by Flipkart as fast deliveries, vast selection from the items they offer, and great prices, of course. So what makes being in e-commerce exciting is the ability to innovate over and above and add on to this. The hype is for real. As Dr. Roy mentioned, we see it in our product. We see it in the brands like MakeMyTrip and across the e-commerce space. And as online shopping, from foreign retailers become more and more common, many e-commerce companies are jumping on the opportunity for global expansion. And of course, going international with your business is a huge undertaking nowadays that requires an immense potential and immense amount of research, planning, and preparation. To be very precise over it, how I have gone through the their investors manual and what their planned portfolio is. They are enriching their website as one of their top priority. In the sense, it is going to play a key role in the success of their global expansion. They are optimizing it for international business, so the customer would know, which features are essential for a smooth customer experiences. So gone are the era when people are seeing about what the product we have to select in a static sort of website. Now they are focusing more, taking the feedback from their customers and from their colleagues and from the competition, of course, to how to optimize that so that they can give a better customer experience to their users. Also, they are planning, to invest heavily in gaining their brand recognition globally. So it's a good news for business development managers in international business like me, as they are continuously making efforts to gather, a global minded marketing team who is having a great taste of foreign policies, cultural differences, communication, and things like that, so that they can incorporate that into their strategy. And that is up for the challenge, and highly knowledgeable about each international target marketing they are planning for. So those are some of the initiatives e-commerce like Flipkart and MakeMyTrip is really venturing for.
So just if you allow me, Ruchi, just to for the benefit of the participants, we have several times, me and Chirag has talked, and you also have talked about cultural differences and cross-cultural issues. Now, I'm sure the participants must be feeling what this culture is all about. And I would like to tell you that how culture, represents in an international business company, first through your language, your education, and all the economic infrastructure, marketing infrastructure, and physical infrastructure are also a part of culture. So country which is very strong in marketing infrastructure, economic infrastructure, financial infrastructure, and physical infrastructure, these are a part of culture, because you are acquainted with these advanced kind of technologies and all, and your languages and your sense of aesthetics, and many more, including your gesture, postures, everything. So that matters a lot for a manager as well as, yeah, Ruchi. So please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. With this, actually, I get into this thought of like going back to 2017 when demonetization actually happened. That was the first time we started more thinking on how e-commerce is going to be more helpful, because we were talking of something not to be touched, not to be going physically to the markets. And that was the time, probably demonetization and then post-pandemic. So both these two particular things added on in terms of more of transactions which were getting digitalized, e-commerce based, and probably not getting into more of touch based. So I could remember that when this demonetization happened, we initially were more emphasizing on the digital transactions. But as I said, there are always risks also attached to these positives of digital banking and e-banking transactions. But when I was also reading one of the articles which actually mentioned about that how pandemic, the global economic slowdown actually affected even these particular companies because of the logistics problem, the warehousing issues which came up, and there were many other multiple issues which actually, and especially when it was a lockdown situation, yes, it was really very tough time for in fact all of us. So all the industries actually suffered. But then if we look at the transition which happened post-pandemic, even right now when we're looking at a certain kind of economic slowdown, I would raise this question to Dr. Roy, that how do you think that Indian companies are going to survive this particular global economic slowdown, which is probably the post-pandemic, or let's say certain risks which are anticipated in the near future, be it inflationary pressures, interest rate pressures, and obviously some legal issues also coming in. So how do you think that Indian companies are going to survive this particular economic slowdown, which is probably
Yeah, Ruchi. So since time is very short, let me try to answer your question in a nutshell, giving very few important points to understand what is slowdown and how we can actually Indian MNCs can can handle this situation of slowdown. And slowdown is now a phenomena in life. I myself have seen several slowdowns in my this tenure of lifetime. Including COVID as the largest slowdown, and then followed by Ukraine-Russia war-related slowdown, 2008 slowdown. So, what is recession? Recession is if at least 2 consecutive years you have a lower economic growth. That's what is the recession, and that has been happening several years, several times in the past, in the history. Greatest recession came in 1929-33. Whole world economy changed, and whole international business perspective and macroeconomy perspective changed. Then several periods of time. I remember 2008 recession, now 2019, 2020 recessions. And these recessions caused by several reasons. Oil price shock is one of the very important. Financial panic or financial reasons. Then pandemic-like situations and wars. These are most important reasons why the recession happens. And once recession starts, then it will plague the many countries, and because countries are now integrated, so it will pass on from one to the other via the trade and via the international business and via the exchange rate, everything. Investments, flow of resources from stock market, one stock market to the other. That is FII. So these things are happening. Now, if recession is happening continuously and several times, what is the preparedness we need as a global company and for an Indian MNC? So few important points I would like to highlight that one company must and managers must be aware of this. You should have a contingency plan, plan B. If recession is there in the door, so what kind of contingency plan you have? First thing, you have to make deep cuts. Cuts means not only cost cutting, but there are several other types of several financial as well as non-financial austerity needed. These are called deep cuts, and we have to actually react very defensively. Means you cannot compete, you cannot beat, you cannot grow, but at least you be defensive, be stable. So this is one. So what happens during recession? Sales goes down. Sales goes down means money, cash flow will be very less with the company. So it is a very strong part of financial management. How you actually manage your finance, because you are getting less cash now and less cash flow. Most problematic part is that a company which is a high debt company, that feels the huge amount of pressure during the recession. So it is a caution for the companies and the managers. You manage your debt to a manageable level, and your interest financing or interest cost part has to be in a reasonable level. So this is one of the very important questions. So if you are controlling your debt, even in non-recession times, it will be good for you to sustain or to face the heat of the recession. Then there are certain other things like you have to aggressively adjust your product offerings, and you will not be able to produce more and sell more, that is for sure. So your production line has to be very aggressively adjusted during the time of recession. So what does it mean? you should be a very strong forecast. You should have a very strong forecast mechanism to know in which market what will be the amount of demand, so that you come down to that level. Accordingly, your what it is called stocks and your production has to come down to that level. That's how you can save. And your organizational structure. Now, I would in organizational level, I would like to highlight on layoffs. What is happening? We have seen 2000. If I take a very recent pandemic recession, pandemic related recession, 2019 to 2021. We have seen across the globe, many companies have laid off their employees. Now, yes, they are in pressure, and there was no denying of the fact that how to cope up with this bad financial situation, that is understood. But then there are certain other ways that also we have to look as a good company to remain visible in the global market throughout the recession and post-recession. Is layoff is not the only the answer. You also have to look at the low labor cost or cut labor cost, cut or reduce the working hours. These are some of the important way how you can layoffs can be avoided. And second thing, if you are laying off, then your rehiring and retraining is very costly. So you cannot immediately, or it is a thought for the managers as well as company, think before doing this, because labor cost can be optimized in several other ways. Digital innovation and IT, we have seen during 2019 20 recession, COVID pandemic, we were actually stuck up in home. So how digitally innovated company like e-commerce platform, I would say, and also several online platforms, how they have actually prospered during this. They have actually earned a lot during this pandemic situation and pandemic related recession. So digital innovation is a must, and IT investment in your IT infrastructure for a international business company, even an Indian MNC. So you have to invest in your technology. So these are some of the important lessons for an Indian MNC to encash on these opportunities. So I would request Ruchi to go ahead, because time is very short. I am not taking much more time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we are getting a number of questions. So I have a very interesting question coming up, and this question is addressed to Mr. Chirag. This is relating to, because you're there right now and you're in the arena age of, in fact, I would say Metaverse right now. So I just wanted to you to highlight, Mr. Chirag, what are the latest trends we are looking up at the e-commerce industry? And somebody has asked a question, and he's just sent me that what do you think that big data, artificial intelligence, and how are these going to contribute? And are there any challenges ahead? Mr. Chirag.
Yes, Ruchi, thanks for this wonderful question. Business managers of today are living in challenging times, no doubt about that. Business targets have never been, stiffer. Work pressure and managing the complexities of competition is keeping them on their toes all the time. Of course, artificial intelligence and machine learning make it possible for the customer to have automated, hyper-personalized shopping experience. And AI is continuously collecting data on how a customer shops, when they buy purchases, and when they are looking in a product or a service. So it's a piece of technology that really can't be replicated in stores. So augmented reality, for example, have been a very altogether complete game changer that changes the shopping experience in a specific industry, be it fashion industry or home decor, because the customer can get a better feel for the item without seeing it in person. It has been dominating in many other industries as well, say automotives. And yes, as you mentioned, that it's a era of metaverse, and things are very much evolving in Web3. We might say very fast changing trends in e-commerce industry very soon.
Thank you. Thank you for that thought. Yes, augmented reality and metaverse is really going to change, especially the fashion, home decor, and these are certain industries. Yes, we do a lot of shopping, and then probably fashion for sure. Yes, is going to influence a big, and there is a big potential, be it the Indian market or the any global market. Yes, probably in the fashion arena, I would surely say yes, metaverse is going to, and that augmented reality wherein I can get the feel of the dressing and the entire cosmetics. That's going to be really yes, looking forward for this. Yes, sir. So there are a lot of questions coming up, and there's a very interesting question which mentions about how in service sector can we actually have a cost reduction mechanism. Dr. Roy, if you can address through this particular question, because even in service industry we're finding a lot of e-commerce like yoga channels and even the medical practitioners coming online, and so in fact a lot of medical practitioners, consultation clinicians, they are actually available online, so we have a lot of companies which are there. And so how are this particular service industry, how they can reduce cost? That's a beautiful question.
So it's a beautiful question indeed, Ruchi. So, but answering this question is not so easy because this is the question around which whole international business is revolving, the cost reduction, and we don't have any kind of ready-made answer. But there are several important aspects in it, in which if we work around that, definitely will be successful. And many Indian MNCs are also successful in this direction. So first thing, cost. Now, for a service company, cost reduction, there is a concept called transaction economics. Transaction. So these costs are actually escalating due to more and more transactions. Input is coming as a raw material from different destination to the factory. Products are being produced. Products are again transported to the seaports and huge logistic services and transportation. So these whole, transaction, that is called transaction economics, escalating the cost to a very high extent. So now, to bring down this cost of at least for service sector, we have to work on this transaction, how we can reduce. But for product, that is understood that transaction, how it is to be brought down. For example, e-commerce companies are transporting the products from the factory to the customers place, and so the whole distribution network marketing recording broken down, so transaction cost has come down. But if it comes to the service, again, so service, if it is a direct one-to-one service, man-to-man or face-to-face, this is one kind of cost implication. But if it is via the technology, again, this can also be optimized by technological usages. So two aspects I would say. One is face-to-face service, and the other is via the technology service. So cost reduction for technology kind of or technology-based services are far more easier, and that can be done, and that has been doing. Companies are doing, and they are winning also. So far as face-to-face service providers case is concerned, that we have to search for some low-cost destination and low-cost laborers availability, and evidently China and India are the places where. So these are my thought process on how cost for service sector can be brought down. That's what is my understanding. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed, sir. Probably because for service sector, yes, we need to undergo a lot of conceptual learning as well to understand and how probably it can be technically handled. Uh, just to share with the audience, actually, Dr. Roy has been also the curriculum designer for the course, which is MBA International Business. So sir has been contributing a lot in terms of the curriculum structure, the course design, the course plan, and the subject. He's been the subject matter expert as well. So as per say a international business, sir, what is your insight on this? Please share.
Thank you, Ruchi. I'm very happy to answer this question because last 12 years I have been associated with MBA International Business in UPES, and you can say I am connected with this program at several capacities. I was also heading the MBA International Business program since 2017 to 2021 for the last 5 years. Now, I would start with all the important things in the curricula in our MBA. Our MBA IB program, it was designed way back in 2009. And I was a faculty member at that point in 2010. So how we designed it, I would start with that background. We looked at the premier institutions. So for MBA International Business, we have in India IFT and few institutions in abroad. So we have benchmarked our curricula and program with those, apex institution which is providing international business degree both in India and abroad. So this is the beginning. Now, as we progressed with our curricula and batches kept on, progressing and passing out, we have seen the success of the students. Very second batch, we have sent 3-4 students in exchange, international exchange, that is University of Alberta, Canada, UOA. UOA is a very good ranked university, and they offer kind of semester exchange with us. So I have seen that students have come out with very good success in terms of their grades. So what I can say that our curricula is matching the international standard. That's why students have come back with accolades, getting very good grades from Canada. And henceforth, from 2010 onwards, continuously every year, we are sending our students in international exchange program, MBA IB. So this is the success story. Second, our students are also going in international SIPs, summer internship programs, wherein they are doing very well. So international business companies have acknowledged our students, merit, and we have seen they have done very good projects. Coming to basic to the courses that are being taught. Now we have all the international business laws, cross-cultural things, then procedures, documentation. These are trade procedure, trade documentation are the heart of the things. And then we have, policies, EXIM policies, export policies, international marketing, international finance, logistics. So these are some of the very important, along with quantitative skills and research skills and consulting skills. So these are the broad, and we also provided language skill like Mandarin and French, and 3-4 languages were offered at different points in time. So these are the whole basket of the courses that are being offered, and we have actually kept an eye on the other very successful institute, how they are doing. So we are actually made a presence in the international business curricula in India as well as abroad, both in academia as well as industry. And our students have represented nation as well as industry in the industrial forums like international business events like in US global business forums and Mexico, and they have represented the university as well as nations. So I would say very successful. International placements have started last 3-4 years, and continuously students are being placed in several countries. So these are some of the important faculty members. We had a very good pool of faculty members, and industry interaction is very high. We are connected with all trading bodies like Director General of Foreign Trade, DGFT, many export houses. We are inviting our students. Our senior students are now at a very mid and high level managers in the Exim banks, export firms, then several, international business companies, and they are also good consultants. This is what briefly I would like to highlight our success stories in international business. And I'm sure this program of our Center for Continuing Education. In fact, Chirag is our alumni, and you see he is now in US for some of his great assignments he has received. So he may also highlight his experiences of learning here and associating with us, and how he is leveraging this degree accomplished from UPES CCE. That's all, Ruchi, from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Chirag, with your closing remarks, probably I would like to end. You being, yes, UPS is your alma mater, and yes, you are luminous to us. So, what would you say? How would you inspire an MBA International Business student, and how do you think that they can chart out their career with this kind of a degree program? And yes, probably they can have a better career prospect, and probably most of us cherish to work in multinational corporations going ahead. So, what is your advice to the aspirants?
Thanks for asking this question, Ruchi. I really admire this question. Whenever anybody asks me about my story, it really encourages me. Yes, there were several questions. There have been several shortlisting during the time when you are doing something within your job, and there are several questions come in your mind. How you're going to. The first question came in my mind was that how will I will going to execute parallelly my job and the degree. And yes, indeed, UPS has given me that platform and that liberty to opt for classes which are recorded, and you can ask very questions like in a live classes with faculty members here who are experienced, who are very friendly, which is something which I have experienced personally, which is not there in other competitive universities like you who are offering MBA with other domains, not into international business. Coming to international business, how it opens my door to other multinational companies, as when I foster towards international business and going to multinational companies with my this accomplishment of international business, it certainly having a great hope and understanding that yes, this person understand the cross-cultural things and how to draft the framework and make him versatile when it comes to communicating with different segments, different levels of hierarchies in the businesses. So yes, MBA in international business from a personal perspective helps me a lot, better than any of my peers who are also pursuing after motivated from me or before me. And yes, I feel myself very motivated, and MBA International Business from UPS really helped me to foster in my growth. And the Hironmoy sir also helped me a lot in mentoring me throughout my projects, throughout my semesters. So how I have to cope up parallelly with my studies and my job.
Great. Thank you so much for this. With this, I would like to close this particular session. But this has been really very insightful to talk about various companies, including Flipkart, MakeMyTrip, and then we went to AliExpress. And then we are also looking at something which is cross-cultural and how an aspirant can probably add on value by learning certain kinds of skills and join certain multinational corporations. And probably going ahead, probably a lot of aspirants would surely like to take this particular stream as their own specialization and probably chart down their own career path. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, all of you, for joining. This has been really a very insightful evening and a great learning experience for each one of us, I believe. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, so this is Dr. Ruchi joining from Dehradun UPES Center for Continuing Education. Thank you so much.